Good morning, this is Ron Brown. I'm doing this video on the morning of August 20th, 2023, and I'm going to talk some about the market. Well, I'm going to talk about the market, but I'm going to come at it from a little different perspective. There's so much market talk out there and speculation about what's going to happen, and that's just the way it is, but I'm going to show you something that I'm working on with HGSI to maybe give us a little more insight. So I will move on down to the standard risk disclaimer and read the last two lines. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. Okay, I'm going to begin here in my files. I have my major market analysis user groups. I'm in folder number 1. I'm going to click through to the warehouse view and make sure that I'm in this number 1, and then these are going to show up here, and this gives us a feel for what happened last week. You can see on Friday there was an incremental gain for the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index, or the SOX. It was up 0.5%, but from the beginning of the week it was down 0.8, and over 5 days down 1.5. So there's a little bit of buying and hope at the end of the trading session on Friday. Same for the small cap 600, transports, and so on. But you can see every one of these lost over the week. Now down here, this is the Ultra VIX. This was reverse. It was up over 5 days and the beginning of the week compared to 5 days ago and compared to the beginning of the week, but down on Friday. So there was some buying that came into the market. You can tell that just by looking at this scorecard. But when I go over here and look at this, I can see that these indexes have been down, the 3 below the 6, for multiple days. The SOX has been down actually 13 days. And let's just bring that SOX up. And you can see there's no volume with this index, but you can see that when I put a crosshair on here, that's when it crossed over clear up here, and it tried to rally, but it didn't get above, and it's been going down ever since. And also the 6 went below the 18, so pretty weak. And if you look down here, you can see that all of these index, or most of these index, not all of them, have been down for quite some time. Here's the utilities. This has actually been down 16 days. So if I bring it up, and you can see that this is the 3 versus the 6, and this actually has volume, but where this occur clear back up here at the top, and it's been falling since. So just by looking at this warehouse view or spreadsheet, whatever you want to call it, you can tell that this market has been very weak. And yes, there was some optimism on Friday. Well, I shouldn't say optimism. There was some buying. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ composite, which I look at all the time. And I'm going to click on my quick pick and go to my market charts. And I'm going to go to this one right here. Oh, let's go to number 2 first. The blue line is going down, so that means that the NASDAQ composite is underperforming the S&P 500. Heavy volume on Thursday and Friday, or above average volume, I should say. And now let's go to this one, which includes the AD line. You can see it's going down. But to get a closer look at the internals, I'm going to go to the new high, new lows. And on Friday, we did see the new lows turning down. The new highs were flat. The AD line, this gives us a much better look at the AD line. I have to get this out of the way. And you can see it started going down when the market started going down, which is what we would expect. A little bit of a bounce on Friday, but nothing to indicate that this trend is not going to condemn down. You can see that this short-term support line right here where my crosshair is was broken, and then it gapped down on Friday. It managed to close at 74.10% of its daily range. If you look over here, you'll see that. So buyers came in and volume was very low. So this created a low volume test. Advancing issues, declining issues were pretty much the same. If you use the alternate I key, it brings up this window, and you can scroll down and see that the advancers were 1655, the decliners were 1448. New highs were 9, new lows were 83. Just make sure that you're on the last day because this information changes as you go back in time. So support was broken on Thursday, and it got back up to this support is now resistance. This is all standard stuff, as you know, but the trends are down. If you look here, the VPA trends, medium down, short down, long term still up. The random walk, the major trend, is down. This is a complicated formula. I don't pay much attention to it. But everything says it's down. If you look up here, you can see that it's E distribution. So the market's oversold, no question about it. Is it going to bounce? Something we don't know. Now, I want to get away from the traditional look at the market, and I want to show you something that I'm working on right now. It's experimental, but I think it'll give us a little better feel for what I like to call, or what, not just me, what people call money flow. Where's the money flowing in the market? Now, we have a lot of ways to look at that in HGSI. We can look at the industry groups and so on, but I've come up with a different way that I'm experimenting with, and if you are Insider Club members, you can download the add-on, and this will be in there. So, first of all, I want to change charts. I want to go back to my daily black charts, and I'm going to go to my number 2C chart, which gives me my moving averages and the crossovers and the volume and all of that. And then I'm going to change this to my standard scorecard view. I didn't mean to close that, and I'm going to leave the designer here. And when you install, you're going to find something in here called money flow in and out. Now, this is experimental. I just put it in yesterday. I'm going to see if it works. But I have 4 user smart groups in here. Money flow in, and this requires an industry percentage price change for 1 day and beginning a week to be positive. And the next money flow in accesses, these are all accessing the stocks and groups moving up and down, and also they're accessing this smart group right here, 100 stocks and groups moving up and down end of day. So this captures the end of day intraday stocks. So I'm combining this group with the Woodward and Brown stocks and groups moving to the upside, and then the same thing for the downside. And I think this gives a pretty realistic viewing of what's happening. So let's get back to this. The first one. Now notice that the industry percentage price change 1 day beginning of the week requirement for both industry, or the industry group, has to have moved up from the beginning of the week and the last day, and only 26 or 29 securities pass this. Now if I flip through to the warehouse view, and if I sort on the industry percentage price change, you can see which groups met this requirement. Now these are the individual stocks. Here you can see that most of these were up on Friday, and the beginning of the week some were down, but here's what this is based upon over here, the industry percentage price change for the industries. Consumer discretionary was up 2.01% on Friday, and since the beginning of the week, I'll open that up so you can see it, is up 2.06%. So this is a requirement. Now in a strong market, what I'm thinking is you're going to see a lot of stocks in here, and you're going to see the groups, the industry groups that are moving up on the most recent day and from the beginning of the week. Now it's going to be like on a Wednesday. You're going to probably see a lot more. Well, I don't know that. That's yet to be seen. But as the market gains strength, you're going to see a lot more stocks in this group. Now I'm going to drop down. I want to stay in this view. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go in to money flow in and no industry group percentage requirement change. I'm not requiring that there be a industry group either up or down. So this jumps up to 186 securities. Now I'm just accessing those smart groups. And this is showing me as of Friday, and this is the percentage change one day on the industries, but as I go down to the bottom, let's see here. Well, here's what I'm looking for. You can see that there were a few industries that were not up on Friday, so there's no industry group requirement, but yet it's going in and pulling out all of the stocks from those positive industry groups for Friday, and you can see the money flow is into these groups. There's especially apparel stores again, refining and marketing, but this is broadly expanded to show oil and gas, services, and equipment. Let's just flip back to the other one. So what do we have here? I'm just going to look at the ones with several stocks. Specialty apparel, integrated oils, coal operations were the primary groups. Now if I can go down here, specialty apparel, refining and marketing, oil and gas services, aircrafts and parts, you can see a lot more groups show up here because there's no requirement here that these industry groups are up for both the Friday or the 1 day and the 3 day period. But I'm seeing that there is money flowing in on Friday like to oil and gas services, and this wouldn't qualify or didn't qualify for the prior group. Now here is that integrated oil. You can see this is standing out because both 1 day and beginning of the week on that group. But all of these other stocks, midstream oil and gas, there was money flowing in on Friday, exploration and production. This column here, which had the requirement for the beginning of the week, is not showing up. So this gives us a much broader look at where there was some strength. But then I get down here to marine shipping. This industry was not up at all, but you can see that over here on the percentage price change, most of these marine shipping stocks were up. Here's one that wasn't. But that's why these stocks were appearing in those end of day smart groups. So this tells me that there is some money flow into marine shipping on Friday, even though the group was down. So let's just take a look. Wow, this is not a good performance shipping. I'm not familiar with it. I'll go up here and we'll just look at the full chart. Wow, no wonder I'm not familiar with it. $1.44 stock, but you can see why it showed up. This is a huge move in this stock over the past several days and weeks. Let's try another one that's more familiar here. Scorpio, I know NAT, and you can see that there is money flow into this stock too. It's another cheap stock. Money flow into this stock here. So my theory and thinking is that by looking at these two groups, we can see where the money flow is in, and let's see where it's out. Now this one requires, there's 96 in here, and this requires that there be the industry groups down for both 1 day and 3 days. If I scroll down at the bottom, I shouldn't see any green, and I don't. So this shows me where the money was flowing out most of the week. Now I'm going to, let's just look at a mining stock, and you can see that. How about diversified banks? You can see flowing out during the week. Flowing out during the week on all of these. Now the next one, let's see, there's 96 in here, and the next one I'm not requiring that the industry groups be down. You can see that there are industry groups that are actually up, but look over here and you can see that most of these prices are down. So these stocks, even though the application software group was up 0.22, this stock was obviously down hard. Another thing I want to point out is notice this relative strength column on the stocks that are down. You see very little green here. Now I'm going to go back up to this other group here, the money flow in. Notice that most of these stocks are high relative strength stocks. What does that tell us? It tells us that stocks that are strong or generally strong are the ones that continue to be strong. Not always, but there's such a stark contrast between this group and this group on the relative strength. Now, another thing that's going to be really helpful here is, I'll go back up to the top one here. These columns right here, you can tell how old these signals are or how fresh they are. Another thing, working with this is a money flow in. If you're looking to go long, you can go down into my groups. Let's say you're looking for, let's see if there's anything with a bullish crossover today. I click on that and I can immediately isolate the stocks that crossed over today, and money is flowing in to these stocks. You can see the crossovers. These have not crossed over. Oh, I'm sorry. This is VPOC crossover. VPOC's crossed over, but the 3 has not crossed the 6 on the gap. So you can see the VPOC. Well, let me go to a different chart here. Go to my 2C chart. You can see the VPOC crossed over down here at the lower part. The 3 hasn't crossed the 6, but this is setting up nicely, and the group is going up. So this is my money flow, my attempt, I should say, at money flow using HGSI software. This is totally different than looking at the composite NASDAQ composite chart and say the market's going up or down. We can actually go in to the program and see what is happening, and we can see how old or how fresh these signals are. Now I'm going to go back up to the scorecard. I'm going to go down to the money flow out. And you can see that a lot of these signals are old signals, or yeah, old. That's what I meant. That happened a long time ago. Look at this. So money flow, this would have been showing up in the money flow out back then. So give it a try. Let me know what you think. See if I'm onto something here or not. Like I said, this is brand new. It's experimental, but I wanted to share it with you and see what you think if you're a member of the Insider Club. Even if you're not, if you see this video, you can send me an email at ron@highgrowthstock and highgrowthstock.com and let me know if you think this has value to you. There's a lot more to it, but I don't want to make this video too long. So have a good rest of the weekend.